Hey everybody, MaskedMetaKnight4, and today I'm bringing you guys a long overdue channel update. I've been inactive for quite a while, and there's been a reason for that. And before you assume the worst, no, I am not quitting YouTube, and no, this is not a canceled apology video either. It's more so on my content inconsistency. Whether you're an old or new viewer of mine and ask me when the next live stream is, or when enter video here video is coming out, or when the next multiplayer session for X game, I would respond with an I don't know or some other vague response. Well, that answer is very complicated, which is why I'll be going over it right now. I created this YouTube channel when I was 14 years old, and I started uploading later that year when I was 15. Way back then, I had the hindsight that this video would come. I just didn't know when I would pop it. So why now? On April 12th, 2025, I was broadcasting a live stream of My Hero Ultra Rumble on Twitch, and this is how it ended. Seems to be a lot of these hours. Yeah, true. No kidding. They've been annoying. They've just been deleting my... Like, I get so special, actually.
Let's go!
That faint noise you heard at the end was my mother constantly punching at my door. I immediately muted my mic, followed by ended my live stream. Before I elaborate more about what happened, I need to lay down the foundation and key points about my life that will be relevant throughout the rest of the video. No matter how emotionally charged you get watching this, I urge you not to attack any party I mention. I did talk with everyone recently and patched things up and forgave them. But I still feel the need to bring up past events because it did affect my channel and me as an individual. I was born and raised in Canada, but I am African Canadian. My parents are from Congo, but they decided to move here to advance their careers. I lived in 7 different homes, meaning I've moved 6 times. From kindergarten to grade 12, I've been to 5 different schools. I am a Christian and I believe in God. My immediate family consists of 4 people: my dad, my mom, and my younger brother. My parents are very strict and they don't always operate on the same page. They are extra strict when it comes to entertainment, which includes gaming. Nobody in my family is physically abusive. My parents have split up once before, but currently they are divorced. My YouTube channel is ran only by me. Aside from my brother, nobody from my family has ever assisted me on it. I'll also be trying my best not to be oversharing too much, so apologies if stuff doesn't make sense because I'm just leaving details out for privacy related reasons. The livestream VOD is on my YouTube channel now and will be posted in the description if you do want to watch that, I guess. My mom absolutely hates gaming and acts like it's one of the worst things in the world that one could be doing. In case it wasn't obvious enough, I am the opposite. I love gaming. I do need to talk about my upbringing and how I was even able to start this channel to begin with and why my activity has been so inconsistent. For parents who are so strict on video games, how did I even manage to own any? Well, my first console was the Nintendo 64, and my parents got it for me back in 2001 or 2002 because Mario Party 3 was my first game. The Nintendo GameCube, I got it as a birthday present from my dad. There was a raffle at my church, and I got lucky enough to win a Nintendo DS Lite from it, and my dad got my brother a DS Lite, so we would each have our own. And the last gaming-related thing my parents ever bought for both of us was the 25th anniversary Mario Wii for Christmas. The Wii was the last gift my parents ever gave us, and that isn't a thing I'm upset about. Back when you could rent media, my brother and I would rent games we didn't own to play or outright buy them through allowance and chores. Borrowing games from friends too. I never owned any Microsoft or Sony consoles, but through friends I did get to play a lot of them growing up. Even on the computer, I would find sites like Newgrounds, dandare.org. Sonic Rebel Blast 2 and emulators are so much fun as well. My parents would have time limits on our playtime, which again is fine. But as time went on, they would get a lot more stricter or straight up not honor the time limits that they gave us. It would go from an hour a day to an hour on weekends to only an hour on holidays. and there would be holidays where we were not allowed to play at all. A side effect to strict parenting means that the kids will be a lot more rebellious. My brother and I would find the hiding spots where my parents would hide our consoles and we would get in some extra playtime. I do want to stress that gaming wasn't the only thing I did growing up. My bike was basically my car before my car. I would use it to go everywhere. My brother and I were super active in sports, especially basketball, high-level club teams, and school basketball, a lot of other miscellaneous sports sprinkled here and there. As I got older, family drama happened a lot more frequently, and my entertainment outlets were slowly getting cut off more and more. I don't like the NBA as much as the rest of my family, and the main channel I would watch growing up was Family Channel, which was basically Canadian Disney Channel. The last cable show I remember watching back then was the Sweet Life on Deck, before my dad removed that channel. So I ended up finding my way to YouTube, and I fell in love with it immediately. No matter how bad my life felt at the time, YouTube was my comfort because I could always find content and communities that shared my interests. In 2012, I was watching a lot of channels, but there were 5 in particular that eventually inspired me to start my own channel and shape my own content back then, back when I was in grade 10. Chugga Conroy, Clement J64, Shadow759, Cyberman65, and Kobanermoney456. I made the account in February because I had a friend who wanted me to sub to his channel. I didn't start uploading videos until the end of summer because our family computer was too old, and my dad wouldn't get me a laptop until the end of summer because I was moving schools for the final time in September for grade 11, and that school required every student to have a personal laptop. I couldn't even make content during the summer of 2012 because my parents were fighting about finances, so a game of chicken would be played with some of the bills. So there would be times where we wouldn't have internet at home, even though we weren't poor or anything. If my brother and I wanted to use the internet that summer, we would bike to a nearby Starbucks and basically camp there all day to use their Wi-Fi on our phones, and they had free water. Eventually, internet stability was had, and I can start my YouTube journey despite knowing how difficult it would be. As basic as my username is, I went with MaskedMetaKnight4. I would not shut up about Kirby growing up during grade school. If you personally knew me around then, yeah, you just knew. Meta Knight is my favorite Nintendo character. I loved Revenge of Meta Knight in Kirby Superstar Ultra. He had an awesome theme. And there wasn't much Kirby representation on YouTube back then. 4 is my favorite number, so I added a 4 at the end. It's very obvious that Meta Knight has a mask, but the mask part of my username has a lot more meaning to it. It's my rebellion against oppression about my likes and desires, another identity, if you will. Every video on this channel, I have made it in secret. The laptop that I got from high school was a very basic one, so I started off by making SRB2 videos because that game rules and there wasn't much content on it back then, so I could have my own niche and build off of it from there. I also took the Cyberman 65 route by doing no commentary videos, and I still do that to this very day because I enjoy doing regular gameplay videos. I still had to deal with the risk of my parents finding out because the last thing I wanted was them to police every corner of my life. There was this never-ending looming fear that I had to deal with for doing something that I loved. In 2015, I was able to make money off of YouTube because I was 18. Google AdSense would mail you a verification code to confirm your identity back then, and you were cooked if that letter ever got lost in the mail. I believe sometime between grades 6 to 8, my dad, he legally changed his first name to my first government name. So it made things a lot more annoying for me personally because my dad would open mail by accident and it would be mine. So I'd basically have to camp my mailbox every day to make sure that I got to my mail first. Fortunately, I did get to the letter first, but any sort of business that would send me mail, I requested it to be through email. For example, like my bank, so my parents wouldn't know I was making money during the times that I didn't have a local job. I would use my YouTube earnings to buy another laptop, not a gaming laptop, but a beefier one. I got one of my friends to bike to Best Buy with me, buy the laptop, take turns biking with the laptop all the way back to my house. Then I would pretend to use my old laptop when my parents were around, and use my newer laptop when they weren't around. Once I got a regular job, I would be more comfortable having the new laptop around, because my scapegoat would be that I paid for it with my job. Reasons why I opted for a laptop over a regular PC is that I can take it with me and I can work on it wherever I need to be. I remember a YouTube comment that I got years ago, I think around 2014, that told me I should do newer console games because I was limited to emulators, Sonic Roboblast 2, and fan games back then. My parents weren't buying me consoles anymore, and I had no real way to hide a Nintendo Wii U, so I never owned that console. Back then, 3DS capture cards were new, and any content creator were trying to get their hands on them back then. With my money and finding an OG 3DS in a pawn shop, I was able to purchase my own capture card. Well, the Katsu Kitty one was bad, so I bought one from Loopy, and I had to get that delivered to a friend's house, and I would pick it up from them. And Nintendo 3DS was easy to hide, and even though it wasn't Nintendo's newest console, it was still new and relevant, and I was able to make more handheld content. As my channel grew, as I made more friends, watched more YouTubers and streamers, I wanted a crack at commentary, let's plays, and even live streaming. I did convince myself in the past I would never be able to stream because of my family, but I did have opportunities to pull it off. I would need a bunch of stars to align, so in 2017 I broadcasted my first live stream. With more growth means more requests and demands from my viewers, which is fair. I am my own boss for my YouTube channel, yet I can't decide when I want to run it. It was easiest to record no commentary single player videos. If I wanted to host any multiplayer sessions, I would need to decide in that moment when I realize that both of my parents will leave me alone and I don't have any school work or any other responsibilities. Commentary and stream content made it even harder because I would need the house to myself, and even when I do have it to myself, I have a time limit. If you're wondering why I never had a schedule for my live streams or multiplayer sessions, that is why. That's also why I don't collaborate with a ton of people, because a few that I do collab with are both flexible and understanding, which I am very grateful for. Although I missed out on the Wii U, I did end up snagging myself a Nintendo Switch in 2018. The first home console I paid for on my own, and it's my personal favorite console ever. It's also super beneficial for my situation too, because it's a portable console and it's just easy to hide as well. Bought some capture cards along the way so I can cover more games, old and new, along with the current gaming laptop that I got in 2020, but it has seen better days. I know I'm jumping all over the place, and I still don't want to overshare, but I do want to talk about money, school, occupation, and family. Although being a content creator is a dream of mine, which I still love, I struggled a lot on where I would fit into this world, all the way back in junior high. It would be awesome to live off just YouTube alone, but even then, it's more ideal to have a more traditional job so that there's more income rolling in, and there's usually benefits as well when it comes to those traditional jobs. However, I never knew what type of job I wanted to do long term, even after I finished high school and was taking post-secondary classes. I also worked a bunch of different jobs too over the years. During that time, my parents would be fighting more, and because I was the oldest son, I would be put in the crosshairs of their feud. There were actions that my dad did to my mom that I don't agree with, and there were actions my mom did to my dad that I don't agree with, so I felt lost and alone, while also dealing with both work and school. It was also impossible at the time for me to be doing everything full time, and I felt like my own life had less priority over this fight that I was forced to be a part of. I wasted a lot of time and money on classes and electives that I will never use. If my work schedule wasn't to the liking of my mom, she would force me to tell my management to change it. I also financially got set back a lot, which I am still trying to recover in present time. And I remember in 2017 and 2018 being some of the worst years of my life because I just felt despair every day and no way out. My parents finally did divorce, albeit very abruptly. I went to go live with my mom, and my younger brother stayed behind to live with my dad. My mom has done and still does a lot for me. She helped me get a car, she helped me get my braces, she loves to provide for her family and works very hard for it. I am very happy on how much she rebounded post-divorce and how much she accomplished in her life. However, from my point of view, it felt like she cared for me only as a son, but not as my own individual, as a person. There are many things we don't agree on. When that happens, or when she's mad, she will yell. I get verbally abused a lot. Most of the time, I just take the verbal abuse until she's done. The few times I do want to say something back, or she is losing an argument she started, I am either threatened to leave the house, threatened to throw out my most beloved things, or that she is my mom and what she says matters more. I don't like eating at home because anytime I do, I'm vulnerable in that moment and she can yell at me. I go out of my way to eat either super late or I just eat out so I can be alone. Anytime my mom sees someone who looks like me or just another man in general or another dude in general, she will compare their life to mine and how they are doing better even though she doesn't know them. So I just get compared a lot. She deliberately gets me out of my room a lot so that I can do work for her that I know that she can accomplish on her own. She does this so I don't stay in my room to work for a long period of time if she is at home. If something is going wrong in the family, it is somehow my fault. So it feels like just me existing is a nuisance. If I do anything wrong or make any form of mistake, it was because of video games. If I get too many days off in a row at work, I'm considered slacking off, even though I do need those days off for my mental health. If I finish work or school or anything early, I just can't go home to make videos because I get micromanaged for just about anything, so I need to just waste time loitering in public, then come home. My room isn't always the cleanest, but I do know where everything needs to be. But if my mom is in a bad mood, she would basically throw all my things in one pile and leave it there for me as a surprise when I come back. So always having to dread that after long, terrible days was not fun. She would get me to watch shows like Dr. Phil, where they got people on there who are super video game addicts, and I would get very offended by that. Every day I would wake up, my thoughts aren't, what do I have planned for today? My actual thoughts are, is my mom working today? If yes, what do I have planned for today? If no, how do I avoid getting yelled at? To be fair, I don't show my mom anything I do because I don't like being micromanaged, but I do stuff. From her point of view, it can be seen as me doing nothing with my life, but I have also tried to tell her that she is not the main character of my life, and I do things when she's not around. I don't like using this word, but my mom wants me to have a normie life. I am very introverted, but I can be extroverted when I need to be. I don't really watch TV anymore, but my mom will try to get me out of my room to go watch basic television, and that I'll learn lessons and messages from said TV. But I already get those from gaming and anime. It's kind of why I've been drawn to RPGs lately. She doesn't get the concept of gaming and will never want to get it either, which makes it annoying when she talks about entertainment. Go to the movies, go outside, go do something normal. Again, I do those things already, just not to her standards. I can never say I'm busy if my mom wants me to do something because she doesn't consider what I want to do worthy of being busy. Because I've moved way too many times and just resetted at school many times because I've been around all over the place, I've never felt like I've had a true home. So even when I am home, it doesn't feel like home, if that makes any sense. To return to April 12th, after my live stream was abruptly ended, my mom and I argued for an hour or so, and I went to bed angry. Woke up the next morning, went to an early service of church because if I watched online that morning, I was going to get yelled at for sure. Came back home to see all my drawers opened, and she took all of my equipment. Easily the angriest I've ever been, and we argued all day. During that argument, she was treating me like I was an addict. Any pep talk she gave me in the past never felt genuine, because she always said at the end of the day, it is up to me, that I should respect myself. But I knew that wasn't true because she overrides what choices I make, and I was being validated in that moment for those concerns. Once I realized she was not going to give me back my stuff or tell me where it was, I reached my breaking point. One of two situations happened. She either hid them or threw them out, so I made some phone calls that night. She was conveniently working the following Monday morning, so I used my entire day off to drive round trip a bunch of times, moving all of my things and abruptly moving out. I'm now living somewhere else, but those couple of weeks were not fun because I did worry and hurt my mom by doing that and not telling her where I went. I did tell her later that day when it did happen, but she also doesn't realize she hurt me for the actions that she did. She does not know that some of the equipment that she took were irreplaceable, and that is something she would never understand. I just grew so much resentment from her over the years. Every time she called me these past few weeks, I just got very angry and ignored every call and voicemail except for two of them. I cannot have an honest conversation with her when my belongings are being threatened or held hostage. I did tell her that she doesn't care about me as a person because if she did, she wouldn't have taken my things. Eventually, she said she was going to return what was mine, and the next day, I did get my equipment back. Like I said earlier in the video, I did patch things up in the end. Had a more in-depth conversation with my mom, and I told her about all the resentment I had, and that I would let it go and forgive her. I think that's for the best in long term. There are also things she told me from her perspective which I understand more about her as well, and just overall, we're healing. I didn't talk much about my dad, but ever since the divorce, I barely talked to him because I didn't want to be a pawn in the divorce fight. Because as the eldest son, I was hearing all these stories and whatnot, and my younger brother didn't have to deal with any of that because everything was being thrown at me instead. But I have been slowly talking with him again over the years, and right now we are in very good terms. I can't say everything in my family is perfect, but no family is, right? But I'm just happy for once that both my parents are finally giving me the choice to choose my own path without both of their influences. Now that I have all my equipment back, where do we go from here? Where does the channel go? Well, for starters, I feel like a real YouTuber now because I can operate on my own schedule. There's a lot of playthroughs, LPs, projects I've left unfinished, but I want to tackle them at my own pace. One thing I've learned lately is that I can't do everything all at once, and I need to pace myself. And time management is a skill I need to craft while also balancing the other aspects of my life too. If there's any type of my videos you have questions about, whether it be for YouTube or Twitch, I'll make a community post on YouTube the following day where you can ask. I'd prefer if you didn't ask it in this video. I also have an Ask Meta channel in my Discord server if you want to ask there, or if you ever see me on stream, you can ask me questions there as well. Videos will be back on the channel in a day or two. And despite all my past circumstances, I am very grateful my channel is able to grow this much, and for all the support that I got over the years. And yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say on the topic. Thank you for listening this far if you made it this far into the video, and I'll see you around.